This is like a lot bigger probably. It would be more like hands and knees, maybe the size of this area right here, this little section, without this cutout, because you wouldn't have been able to stand up.
15 years ago, John Edward Jones lodged himself upside down in a narrow chamber about the width of a 5-gallon bucket. His 6-foot, 190-pound frame barely fit through the winding passages of the Nutty Putty Cave. He was looking for a route called the birth canal, which had a one-way crawl with a turnaround at the end. He instead found himself in an unmapped chamber, belly crawling deeper into the wrong passage, thinking he'd eventually get to a space large enough to turn around. Rescue teams would work through the night and day trying to free him. Hours of effort led to barely any progress. The closest that search and rescue teams came to freeing Jones was by rigging a system of pulleys that would allow teams to hold Jones' weight as he pushed himself out. As they tried to free Jones, the anchor rope of the haul system failed, snapping over a sharp edge. After more than 24 hours, just before Thanksgiving Day, John Edward Jones was pronounced dead. Brandon Kowallis is a caver who was called to help with the rescue attempts and was with Jones when he passed away. Accompanied by his children, Kowallis took Tribune reporter Julie Jag and me on a tour of a nearby cave similar to Nutty Putty and told us what he remembers from that time.
In a lot of cave rescues, you rely on the person being rescued to help out to some capacity. As soon as they can't help out at all, it becomes significantly more difficult. I've been out here several times on other rescues. By the time I'd get out here, they'd already have them out. Or if they were stuck, like we'd go in for maybe like 5 minutes and then they were out. By the time I got here, I think John had probably been in 12, 15 hours, which is a big deal when you're upside down. Like that was kind of the crux of this whole rescue. Because usually you have to be like consciously like trying to figure out how do I put my body, but he's upside down, he can't see his legs, he can't see his feet. Yeah, so he was face first down this tight hole. And so all I see is his legs pretty much. So Nutty Putty would be kind of similar, but like all the white would be off. Like it's all just like bedrock mostly in Nutty Putty, and then it's a lot wetter. So here it's like pretty dry. This is like a lot bigger probably. It would be more like hands and knees, maybe the size of this area right here, this little section, without this cutout. Because you wouldn't have been able to stand up. You're just kind of crawling on your hands and knees. And then there was like a little domey thing that opened up, and you'd turn around, and then it turned and went down 90 degrees through something that was a little tighter than this. So probably, I'm gonna say something like where my arms are here, maybe about that size, and a little lower. And then after that, it got into like what you can see on the floor behind you there. That had to pinch down to about that size, right down there, but without the arch on the top, like cut off the wide part. And then you're just kind of belly crawling. I'm going feet first because I want to be able to get myself out easily. So, yeah, that feels like that's the back of it. So this is kind of wide and spacious compared to Nutty Putty, this section in Nutty Putty. And then it veers off. In Nutty Putty, the ground, like here, the ground is like dirt and gravel. There it would have been smooth rock. And at that point, John was in and out of conscious. He was hallucinating and all kinds of other things as his body sort of broke down. He was not responsive. And so I went down, I nudged him like, hey, John, how's it going? We're going to get you out of here. Like, don't worry about it. And talked to him a little bit, but he didn't respond. So when I went down there with him and was kind of working on the passage, I'm like, hey, John, are you there? Are you doing okay? And his feet started like kicking, and then he was gone. Yeah. And I didn't know anything about that, but I went out and I explained it to the search and rescue, and they're like, "Ugh." They're like, yeah, that's not a good sign. And so they're like, we think he's dead at this point, but we have to confirm it. So then at that point, it was trying to confirm. So I got back in there. I'm like, I'm not a paramedic, not an EMT. Like, I'm not gonna like make any kind of confirmation. So finally, like, we got a paramedic back there. He was able to go in head first to the little window so that he could get pulled out. and reached his hand down and was able to feel John and say that, yeah, he's gone. So he used to say, like, for the volume of people that came in here, it was only a matter of time before somebody got very seriously injured.
After the accident, the cave was permanently sealed with Joan's body inside.